How much is our well-being worth? And is it okay to put a price tag on being healthy? For the past 2 weeks, I've taken it upon myself to interview students around campus and conducted research online to find out exactly what people expect from our healthcare versus what we are actually getting. Healthcare is universal, regardless of where you come from or your financial standing. Everyone needs healthcare in some way or will need it at some point in their life. When that time does come, I want to make sure that we know exactly how we got to where we are today. One of the first iterations of organized American healthcare was in the early 20th century, during the Great Depression era. At the time, many Americans simply could not afford health or medical services. Federal policymakers were eventually convinced that without healthcare, we were as deprived as those who cannot afford basic necessities like food or water. After recognizing healthcare as a basic human right, efforts were made to subsidize medical agencies in a movement that would take care of those who needed it most. However, this was a small victory for the people, and it was only short-lived. It wasn't until the 1930s that privatized healthcare organizations began cropping up. Pharmaceutical companies began to flourish, and the medication prices began to skyrocket. This was because of the thought that government-subsidized public health care was socialistic, leading President Roosevelt to scrap the original legislation that he had wrote. This trend carried on through the turn of the century, and it only got worse as time went on. Today, on average, 33% of adults are skipping medications or doses solely due to the costs associated with them. Studies done by the Commonwealth Fund have found that for the same amount of prescription drugs, Americans are paying over double to even triple the price of other high-income countries like the United Kingdom or France. A lot of this is in out-of-pocket expenses or lengthy co-payments that you have to make. When we look back on the roots of our healthcare, it's easy to see that we've let politics and greed take over precedence of our moral compass. And it shows, with profits of pharmaceutical companies and medical insurance companies reaching the tens of billions, we really have to ask ourselves, is it okay to pay for healthcare? Shouldn't my health be considered a basic necessity?